everyone. I am Press Secretary Philomena Robertson. As usual, welcome to the latest in our series of post-cabinet briefings. Today, September 11th. As always, much appreciation to members of the media who are present. Thank you for showing up. To the public at large who are either listening or watching this live broadcast, thank you for tuning in as we fulfill our mission to be accountable to the people of Grenada and to provide regular updates on the work of government. This week again, we have a slightly different approach to our post-cabinet press briefing. We will be talking cricket, lovely cricket. Now, I'll admit, I'm not a cricket fan, but I do understand the unifying significance of the sport for us as Caribbean people, and also the importance of the recent news that Grenada will be hosting two of the one-day international matches when England tours the Caribbean next year. So we'll get to that shortly. But first, our primary guest here this morning, Minister for Sports, Senator Nolan Cox. He has some important government updates that he would like to clue us in on. Minister Cox?
Thank you very much, Philomena. And let me say a pleasant morning to our viewing public, World Wide Web, JIS TV. It's always a pleasure to address the nation in this capacity. I know that today is a special day because we're talking about cricket. That is one of my sport, my first love, cricket. However, before I go into other government matters, I think it will be fitting, at least for me, to recognize our cricketing team here this morning from Cricket West Indies. We have with us this morning the manager for the West Indies cricket team, Grenadian, our very own, Royal Lewis. Also with us, our cricketing great stalwart. I'm trying to find words to describe his contribution to the game. We have with us Joel Garner, Big Bird. We have also with us Dominic Warren. He's communication, commercial, and corporate marketing for the Cricket West Indies. We are pleased to have them here with us this morning at this important press briefing. So let me get right into the government matters before we deal with the purpose here. There is cricket. Last Friday, the House of Representatives met, and one of the bills that was passed in the House of Representatives had to do with a very important initiative, and that had to do with mutual legal assistance in criminal matters, a treaty that was signed between the government of Grenada and the government of the People's Republic of China. As you know, the People's Republic of China, they are a critical development partner for our country, our government, and we have been cooperating excellently over the past couple of years, partnering on a number of initiatives, be it sports, be it culture, be it national development, the People's Republic of China, social development as well, in terms of housing, have supported this government and the people of Grenada. As such, the Prime Minister, in his initiative together with the People's Republic of China, saw the need to extend that cooperation from a legal standpoint in terms of looking at ways in which both countries can address issues relating to criminal activity to curb those. On the heels of the passage of that legislation, that treaty, on last Friday, yesterday, we had a historic initial first China-Caribbean conference on anti-corruption, law enforcement cooperation conference that is taking place here in Grenada. This conference sees the participation of a number of Caribbean countries, also countries that do not have a formal agreement with China. They are also participating in this conference. We are very pleased and very supportive of this initiative. As you know, to be effective these days in terms of dealing with crime and corruption, it requires cooperation on all hands, because the world is a single space. And so we believe that this initiative that has started from this historic conference is one that will bring fruits to all parties involved. And of course, the government of Grenada and the Prime Minister of Grenada fully supports this initiative. I want to go on to the CCJ. As you know, we are working towards amending our constitution. Sometime in November, we are tending towards the 6th of November as the date for a referendum. The CCJ Advisory Council continues its work and activities in terms of engaging the public, raising awareness with the main objective for our citizens to come out and vote yes for CCJ and vote yes for the constitution reform process. On the 18th of this month, we are expecting to have with us in our presence, and for probably a day or two, those details will be given later, former president of the CCJ, Honorable Adrian Saunders, Justice Saunders. He will be in Grenada. We are expecting him to have two engagements. One, at the TAMCC level, he will be engaging our TAMCC students on the CCJ and other matters relating to the CCJ in terms of educating our persons. Also, we expect him to be addressing the public at the Deluxe Cinema sometime in the evening of the 18th or the 19th. Those details will be forthcoming once all those logistics are sorted out. Okay. I just made this correct. I said former president of the court, Justice Saunders, would be here. Former, and the current president is oh, sorry, my mistake. Thank you very much. All right. So the former is Dennis Saunders. Dennis Byron, sorry. My mistake. I have it all tied up this morning. I hope it's not cricket that causing that. So we expect the Honorable Dennis Byron to be here. He's the former president of the CCJ. And we are looking forward to that engagement come on the 18th. So my error there in that regard. We also wish to inform the public sometime tomorrow we are expecting a delegation from the CARICOM Secretariat, and including heading that delegation would be one of the Assistant Secretariat will be here in Grenada to meet with the Prime Minister to update him on ICT matters. It is a meeting that is critical. One of the initiatives that CARICOM is looking at is having ICT as a single space where we can collaborate in terms of information, looking at CARICOM probably having a repository so that other countries, Caribbean countries, can access critical data using ICT. This meeting tomorrow is leading up to the meeting of ministers of ICT, which will be announced at a later date. So this is a very important development for us, and we hope that this initiative is one that will bear fruits, not just for Grenada, but for the region as a whole. I want to move on to sargassum. As you know, we have been battling with sargassum, mainly on our eastern shores on mainland Grenada here and also in Carriacou. The government of Grenada has taken initiative to establish environmental wardens who are placed at the more critical areas, three primary areas that we are targeting right now, Sobeys, Marquis, and also Windward in Carriacou. They are the most troublesome spots, and so we have established that environmental wardens, and they are placed there trying as much as possible to alleviate the negative impacts of the sargassum as they come ashore. We continue to look at more long-term measures in terms of addressing this sargassum issue. We are consulting with our neighboring islands. We are looking at mechanisms and different initiatives so that we can address it from a long term. Probably also in terms of addressing it, taking up the seaweed from outside instead of having it come ashore, where we have a number of challenges when it arrives at shore. One of the issues is significant costs for cleaning up the beaches, and we have continued to invest in that regard to ensure that our shorelines are kept clean, and of course residents in the area minimize in terms of the impact of the seaweed. In terms of sports, we're moving over to sports. I just want to, not on so much of a happy note, but I must commend our national football team, our Spice Boys, with their loss last night to Curacao. We are not happy with the result, but we continue to support them in their efforts. I know that they are working hard. GFA is doing everything that it can to ensure that we get good results from our team Spice Boys as we move forward in the CONCACAF competition, qualifier competition. So they didn't do well last night, but we are there with them and continue to support them. Also, we want to recognize our national netball team that has just concluded and finishing third in the AFNA qualifier in Barbados. The girls have been doing pretty well. They had some excellent victories. Unfortunately, we were just one win away from qualifying for the netball, the World Cup netball. We say better luck next time, and we continue to give them support and all the best in the future. Also, we want to recognize and congratulate Anderson Peters. Over the weekend, he participated in the IAAF Continental Cup in the Czech Republic, javelin, his primary sport, and he placed third in that event. We are happy with his performance, and we are very hopeful that he can achieve some degree of success at the upcoming Olympics in 2020. We believe that he has the capacity to do so, so we continue to support him in that regard. And to move on now to cricket. At this time, I think I will be doing much talking, but I just want to say that I am pleased, as most Grenadians are, that we, the Grenada Cricket Association, the Government of Grenada, the Ministry of Sports, together with Cricket West Indies, we are at a juncture where we have exciting times ahead of us, which is lovely cricket. We are expecting to host England February 25th and 27th. That's just cricket, but they're going to be here, I think, by the 23rd and leaving on the 28th, so they'll be in Grenada for about 5 to 7 days. And we are hoping that we have working towards an excellent tournament. And we have with us this morning, as I indicated earlier, probably half of the West Indies Cricket Board with us this morning. So that is good news for Grenada. I know that Grenada has been looking forward to cricket. I think the last time we had a test match of cricket here, international cricket, was in 2015. And 2015? 2014, I stand corrected, but I think it was 2015, but I stand corrected. It looked like I'm going off key this morning. Nonetheless, we are happy to have the members and of the West Indies Cricket Board. Just also to note that our dear cricket great Joel Garner, he's I believe the president of the Barbados Cricket Association. Was pass. Okay, good. All right. So he's a former president of the Barbados Cricket Association, and so he is making his contribution not just at the international level, but also at the local level. So we want to thank you for being here. I think Dominic is the one who has the floor. He is in the hot seat, and he will be speaking everything cricket. So I turn over to Dominic. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much for having us here. It's a pleasure to be here. Very exciting few months ahead in terms of what we want to do with cricket. I'll give a few headlines and I'll leave the much more esteemed gentleman on my left to answer the cricketing questions. But just to repeat exactly what you said, so in the context, what's exciting about this tour, it's probably the biggest England tour there's been for 10 years. And in terms of the West Indies, we know that an England tour is a huge piece, both in terms of profile, but also economic impact as well. Not least driving interest in the game and hopefully driving young people to get inspired by West Indies performances. It's probably going to be the biggest tour to the West Indies by any team for the foreseeable future as well, because the ICC is putting together a World Test Championship schedule. So the fact that there are 3 Test matches, 5 ODIs, of which there are 2 in Grenada, and then 3 T20s, the likes of which we might not see for another 5, 6, 7 years. We just do not know. So coming back to Grenada specifically, and the 2 ODIs, again, where it gets very interesting, let's talk on the schedule first and who we're playing. England as world number 1s currently in a World Cup year, which is going to be in May, June. Massive preparation for us, probably the biggest test in cricket right now for the team to play against England, and I'll let the gentleman talk about that. From a tourism perspective, we know that Grenada is obviously trying to build the profile and tourism reputation, which is very exciting. And I know as an Englishman, not that many people have been to Grenada before. So as a stunning, beautiful jewel of the Caribbean, great opportunity. So we're working with 8 or 9 big tour operators who are going to be bringing English fans into the Caribbean, and we know that Grenada's right at the top of the list in terms of what they want to be coming to see and to experience. And then thirdly and finally, just in terms of getting local fans, one of the key things that we're going to be looking to do is actually making tickets affordable for local fans. Obviously, we want the more atmosphere we can generate in the game, the better it is for the team, the more exciting it is to watch on TV, and the better support it is for the West Indies team itself. So we'll be putting things, some discounts and some promotions and lots of activities in place, working with the Ministry for Tourism and with the Ministry for Sports over the coming months to have lots of fun in the build-up to the cricket. So I shall leave that there for the more interesting cricket questions from Raul and Joel, but obviously would love to answer any questions as well.
Raul, would you have any opening statements, or would you just want to entertain questions?
Well, I couldn't be at home in Grenada and not have any opening statement. And furthermore, I did not see you for the last 15 or 20 years. So very happy to see you. Morning to all. Very happy to be here. This is home for me. In this capacity, I'm very pleased that, you know, the stadium that I've played cricket in for 18 years. I've played cricket at the National Stadium for 18 years of my life. Now I can sit on the balcony in a different position off the field. This is something that I really wanted to do. I get the opportunity to do it, so it's very, you know, heartening for me to be home in Grenada to represent the region in this capacity.
Thank you very much, Raul. Ambassador Garner, anything from you before we entertain questions?
Good morning, everybody. I can say it's good to be home as well. I am at home. Let me just say that it is a pleasure again to be in Grenada and to be able to bring cricket, or to assist in the bringing of cricket to the people of Grenada. We've had good times, not only as players. Raul is now reaching where it's been for the last 20 odd years. So I think most of the people who would have seen me at the new stadium would have seen me in the stands or under the stand enjoying whatever is there that's Grenadian. I don't have to worry about the playing anymore, so I'm now socializing and trying to do some good work otherwise. Good to be home, and, you know, I'll be ready for the questions in relation to anything cricket.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen of the media, the floor is now open to questions. As usual, please identify yourself and your media house before asking your question. And let's stick to the subject of cricket. I'm sure there's a lot to talk about.
Sherry and Noel, GIS. My first question is for Raul. As the manager of the West Indies team now, we know that that team has been plagued with many issues, many challenges, many problems as it relates to discipline and the execution of play and so on. Being the manager, what has changed and what has improved in terms of that West Indies team that we are still supporting and are going to be supporting come 2019?
Well, first of all, this great gentleman here was the manager when I joined the team as the operation cricket logistics person. And when I got into that unit, I saw a difference in the way things were flowing. I think the public's view of the team having a lot of issues and so on, I think it's mainly based on the performance of the team on the field. Because still, everyone, both management and players, perform their roles respectively, stick to the timelines, follow the dress code. Not everyone is available for selection every time, but that's a different issue. But within the unit itself, I couldn't say that presently there are any disciplinary issues or persons fist fighting or whether verbal fights and so on within the group. So maybe it's something that the communication department probably could expose to the public a little bit more and make it a bit more transparent, so that view could change. And when the performance on the field start changing, then everyone could see a big happy family out there.
Okay, so what is being done presently to change the performance on the field of play?
Well, there are 10 members of the management team. Each have a different role. We have batting coach, head coach, fielding coach, S&C, physio, everyone. So I think in the respective areas, persons are working very hard. As you can see, there is a franchise system in the West Indies whereby what happens at the top level is actually mirrored at the regional level. It could improve a little bit, but we are getting there. So the workload is improving, and there are S&C persons in the region now who monitors the training, physical fitness of regional cricketers. So when they get elevated to the international level, they can actually be ready and fit to play. So I think performance-wise, we just have to continue to do what we're doing, and in time we'll improve the performance and the public's view will change.
You would have played at the National Stadium, you said, for 18 years. There's a stand named after you. You're now the manager of the team. How does that make you feel as an individual, as a cricketer, to come to Grenada now managing the ever-famous West Indies team to play against the Great England?
Well, I think Minister Cox probably would get fed up with me the amount of times that I called him and messaged him and so on. I don't know yet how I would feel walking into the stadium with that maroon blazer come the 25th to sit on the balcony as the manager of the team, because this is something very dear to me, the sport, because that's what made me, that's what have me where I am today, that gave me everything that I have. So it's a very, very good feeling. I was just waiting on I waited on the moment when we would have international cricket in Grenada. Cricket West Indies, have a lot of credit to take for that, and also the government of Grenada and Grenada Cricket Association, and everyone. So now it's left to us to just put everything together so we could continue to have cricket. Because I think Dom could probably explain this a little bit better, that now you could know how many matches you'd have up until 2023 or something like that without bidding for it. So, once cricket start playing in Grenada, we just have to keep improving in every area, personnel, everything. So.
Johnson Richardson, Grenada Informer newspaper. Mr. Minister, just we're really happy to have cricket back in Grenada. Like you said, it's one of the most looked forward sport in Grenada. However, over the years, having hosted international matches, one of the challenges that we've had was the issue with the scoreboard. From time to time, would sort of go blank or so and run into problems. What sort of work that has been undertaken now presently to ensure that we have a smooth flow of that aspect of the game, because the scoreboard is very, very important to ensure an effective running of any particular game.
Thank you very much. That's a very important question. What I can tell you, before I go into the question direct, I want to put on record that cricket in Grenada for 2019, I want to credit it to two individuals, our Prime Minister and CEO of Cricket West Indies, Johnny, because there have been a lot of discussions in the background for us to get where we are now. And I just wanted to put it on record to really say hats off to our Prime Minister for working with myself and the ministry to make sure that we found a way to make it happen, and for Cricket West Indies CEO Johnny for communicating with us and listening and acceding to some of our requests and tweaking things to ensure that where we are today. So I just wanted to state that is very important. As regards to the scoreboard, we have looked at it. It's a critical component towards hosting the games. As recent as this week, we had our partners, development partners, technicians from the People's Republic of China were toured the facility with a view of assisting us in terms of repairing whatever issues that we have, and in terms of the aestheticness, seats, whatever challenges that we have, technical and otherwise, to have that ready for 2019 games. And one such is the scoreboard. We have not had a feedback from them as yet as to how we're going to address that, but we have discussed as a ministry alternative approaches to addressing that. As you may know, there are several service providers in Grenada who have digital screens, and they can perform that task as well. So we have already contacted them, prompt them to let them know that there is a strong likelihood that we will be looking towards them to providing service, not just for the scoreboard, but also for the replay screen as well. So we await a feedback from our technical team from the People's Republic of China to give us some timeline and to see how we can address that. But apart from that, we have an alternative in terms of screens from local service providers. So that is one of the things that we have discussed preliminary. I just want to add, we are compiling a team, a management team together. We have to, with some dialoguing with the Greater Cricket Association, local organizing committee. Hopefully by next week, that committee should have up and running and have their first meeting in preparations for the games for 2019.
Well, my next question is to you. The Caribbean people really love to see West Indies win. And over the years, West Indies have not been doing pretty well, winning and such. And therefore, the ranking at the ICC level has not been one that has been good in recent times, right? Unlike England, ranked #1 in the world presently, yes. That being the case, the fans, cricket and fans, normally would go if the team was doing well and so on, and normally would sort of relax, not wanting to go after a team that is not doing well. As it relates to the composition of the team at the national stadium, a team that would get the fans out to look at the game. What sort of work is being done presently to ensure that the best team is on display at the national stadium, not only to create a competitive game, but also to get fans to come out and support West Indies team?
Well, first of all, there are four selectors actually. In their opinion, the best team, they would sit and collectively come up with what they think is the best team based on the availability of all the cricketers in the West Indies. If I went up to Union St. Andrews, where I am from, and I asked any one of the guys which is the best West Indies team, he probably would pick 11 guys without even knowing whether they're available to play or not. So in many different persons have their views on what the best West Indies team is. But I think from our standpoint, we have to actually select who is available to play cricket and represent West Indies at any given time, because you have to also think about building a team culture when you play, because you have like 15 players, and it's not that everyone in the West Indies doesn't want to play for West Indies, but there are some persons who have commitment elsewhere and maybe at the time not available to play. So the best team could vary at any given time. So I'm sure that the selectors would work, and the Super 50 tournament coming up shortly, 50 over tournament, where they would probably select the best team available to play in those matches.
Do you have any indication to date players that might not be available for that particular tour?
Oh, well, no. Well, the players sometimes request NOCs to go and play abroad in the various tournaments. Seeing that I'm not really at the office doing the logistics in these areas, I'm not quite sure who these players are and where they're going. But hopefully everyone would be available so we could have the best team on the park. I would love to see that. Yeah.
Sherry and Noel again. I have a question for Ambassador Garner, the former bowler. In your view, people love cricket. I love cricket, and apart from having favorite batsmen, I think the players who normally pull the crowd as well as our bowlers. What do you think the bowlers lack now than when you played, or what it is you would like to pass on? Because we have bowlers, but we're not seeing bowlers with that zeal as when we would watch some cricket games from way back then.
If I had the answer to the questions that you're asking, it means that we would have had the best team in the world. Going back to the other question, which is also an interesting question, the best team. What do you consider the best team? I'm shocked when you can hear people asking about the best team. The selectors go and select the best team available to them. It might not be to your liking, and I think teams are selected on performance. I think performance has a lot to do with team selection to start off with, and then availability if you don't get the performance. How I would answer your question in terms of what we see is, I had this discussion with Dominic last night in the bar. We have a lot of people who have a lot of ability, but they don't work hard enough. Let me hit it the way it's supposed to hit it. If you don't put in the effort, you're not going to get results. And like I said to Dominic last night, if you don't prepare well, you prepare to fail. And most of the problems that we will have is because limited ability can only take you so far. If you don't make the necessary sacrifices to get to the level that you want, you will never get there. When you go back to the time when we were playing, you had any one of 15 fast bowlers vying for 4 places. You had to be at the top of the game. Not only that you had to be at the top of the game, but you had to keep fit and keep performing, because when you fail, the next fellow who's going to take your place, you're not sure when you're going to get back. So, it is not easy. It is not going to be easy to get back where we were, but then attitudes will have to change as well. So when Roy was talking about the different systems that you have in place, you can only get at the top what you have at the bottom. Look at the grassroots. When we are up to age 19, we are competitive with the rest of the world. In all the cricket competitions that you go to, or West Indies go to, under 15 or under 19 tournaments, we are competitive with the rest of the world. But where we fall away is when we get away from those age groups, because attitudes change, people change, the fellas pursue other things, and that is part of it. What we have to do is to have stronger cricket at junior level. If we produce a lot more cricketers at junior level, you will get a bigger pool coming to the top. And basically that is where some of the things that you will have, that's where you'll get your progress. It's all right, we might say that we got kiddies cricket going. We might say we got junior programs going. But how good is the junior program that you've got going? If you understand what I'm saying, we have 85 primary schools playing cricket in Barbados. But then we have a program in which you can progress from primary school under 13, under 15, under 17, under 19. But we lose a lot of our good players between 17 and 19. And it's not easy. The girls get in the way too. You know, I mean, you hit it the right place. If you're going to hit it, you hit it the right place. Girls get in the way. I keep saying to the young fellas, if you play cricket and you're a star boy, you get more girls. I mean, come on. But the problems or the challenges that we have is that we do not have a lot of cricket at junior level. The more cricket you get at junior level, it means that you will have a wider pool and a bigger pool to choose from. I can remember going to under 19 trials, and you started off with more than 75 people for 15 places, 14 places. And you played trial games for maybe 3-4 months before you got onto the final 14, which showed that they had a great pool of players to choose from. Now, if you go around to the under 15 cricket and the under 19 cricket, you will see that that is where we have to put more emphasis on, even if it means running after school programs. And you've got challenges because you got football. A lot of people will play the football because it's an hour and a half. Cricket is 6, 7, 8 hours, sometimes more than 8 hours in a day. So I think that's the challenges that we have to encourage people and give them more exposure and show them the benefits. You know, people ask me why they didn't play basketball. Why would they play basketball when basketball is an American game? Cricket is our thing. I want to be a cricketer. I want to represent the West Indies. So yes, I played basketball, but for fun and for exercise. I played football because I enjoyed playing football. I played hockey because I enjoyed playing all those games. But a month before cricket was going to play, everything went into touch because my thing is cricket. I wanted to play cricket, and I'm going to put the effort in to play cricket. I still play the games, yeah, but not seriously because I didn't want to get injured. I wanted to play cricket. So, the emphasis is, or to get back to where we are, we have to go to junior level and build. And I think that to a certain extent, we might have neglected that important part of our cricket. You need to have a wider pool, more players, and not everything is right, but not everything is well, but there are some things that you can do. I'm one that believe that if you do the basics very well, everything comes naturally.
I still have two questions for you, though. Do you believe that the present cricketers and those that are upcoming know enough about the legacy of the West Indies cricket so that they really have something to follow through on?
I can't tell you because I don't know how many of the players I can say, yes, I know that quite a few of the fellas, when they're wrong, me say, oh, we went back, we were watching you on YouTube. I think that is where, like I said, things are changing. So you will find a little fellow with a phone looking at YouTube, and he be watching videos of me, watching videos of Raw, watching videos of the former players. But then I don't think that a lot of the cricket is taught in schools. If you look at American sport, you look at Australia, you look at England, and those places, every time you turn the television on, you see their sportsmen up front and center. I don't think you get a lot of that here in the region, the same amount of exposure. So maybe it needs a change where you expose what we were doing before and what we did well. I think that if you give young people visual, because a lot of them don't, I don't think a lot of them read as much as we did. Well, when we were growing up, television was something that we only talk about. They only had a few, I mean, we laugh at it, yeah, but we only had black and white television, so we had to read. If we wanted to read, we had to go to the library. When we were going to primary school and secondary school, we had to join libraries. Now a fella can take his phone out and in 2 or 3 clicks, you can look at something that was happening 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and it's there on video. I think that may be the way of somebody might be able to say, okay, what we'll do is try and get as much footage as we had at the past, put it in one central place, and just say, have a look at this. You know, and I think that maybe that would also give the younger players some idea of what was happening or what is happening or what had happened before. You don't expect them to read it, but if they can see it on video, it will maybe give them a spark.
If I may, I'd like to add to that as well, which is that there's a really incredible context here, which sometimes we forget, which when you look at the pool of players, just in terms of pure population that you have in the West Indies compared to India, Australia and England, the success story of the West Indies is phenomenal because you're dealing with a population of about 0.1% of India. And pound for pound, or kilo for kilo, or ball for ball, the West Indies has smashed up the world compared to anyone else. And it's phenomenal. And if you just look back to 2016, no one else has been world champions in T20 men's, world champions for the women, and the under-19s. So the underlying strength of the West Indies is there. And actually, we've all got a massive role to play. We've got a role to play at Cricket West Indies. We've got to promote the game better. We've got to excite it better. We've got to get more fans in. We've got to market it better. But also, that's very much why we're excited about working with the Grenadian government, because actually we've got a huge opportunity to actually inspire people, get people healthier, get people excited from an entertainment perspective, draw tourism as well. The other aspect on legacy, I just wanted to touch on what Joel was saying, is it's also about cycles as well, which is the success that we've had here in the West Indies. If you look at every other sport, American football, Green Bay Packers, they won the Super Bowl 3 times back in the 60s and very little since. Ferrari and F1 haven't won the World Championship in years. Every team goes in cycles, but actually it's what you put underneath it. And I think that's where there's a lot developing now. The professional game at the regional level, there are careers and salaries available now to actually give people the support to invest their time in cricket. But actually, to come back right to what Joel said right at the start of his comments there, it's still about the effort. We've all got to put the effort in. And the players you've got naturally are fantastic. You know, you look at the likes of Andre Fletcher, who's one of your home sons here. You know, great potential. And actually, if that potential you succeed for the West Indies, the potential of succeeding on the world, you succeed for the West Indies, you can succeed on the world stage and everything that brings with it. So actually, the underlying strength of cricket is good. It's just we've all got a role to make it a lot more stronger and exciting. So thank you for allowing me to just comment on that.
Okay. So my final question, I just want to go back to the whole issue of attitude and just ask, how important is this, to the success of the team? Because historically, the issues of our colonial past, it's sort of motivated our players to work in to do well. Do you think that is a factor today in terms of your composition of our West Indies team?
Well, you ask this question and you make me think of my children and how I grew up as opposed to how they are growing up presently. I just think that we are dealing with a different generation, and a lot more things you may have to put it in front of them, draw it to their attention. If you listen to when Joel was speaking, a lot of things you have to do and fight. 500 cricketers to pick 15, that's a real challenge for you, and now it's a little bit different where you find a lot more distractions and so on. So as part of the management, I think our role, we are creating little documents daily and, little things that we can build the team culture, to change the approach and the mindset of players, try to get them to do things in a synchronized way so that, everyone can, pool together, and not only us on one side as Cricket West Indies working hard and everybody else is coming along. So, it's a real challenge, but the way how I look at it from where I sit, I can see that if we talk about it long enough and we engage them long enough, we have a lot of young players in the team, Kimo Paul, Hetmeyer. These guys have not really been exposed to international cricket for a very long time. So because they are now starting, we are now going to start something where they can catch on from the beginning, and hopefully that when they become senior players now, it could stay with them, and the next young person coming could just fall in, and, you know, we all in one circle with one team culture. So that's just my view of it. And I do a lot of research. I look at like the New Zealand All Blacks, which I think is one of the best sporting team on the planet, and what they do. You know, sometimes I have to tell the guys, we did not meet the changing room like that. Can you please check your corner to ensure there are no orange peel and banana skin? You know, there's a garbage there. You know, little things like that you try and you tighten up. You know, you take your own bag, you know. Although in certain places where you have a great number of people, people can take your bags for you. But I believe if it's your bag, you take responsibility for your bag. In times when I can assist you, I probably would do so. But, you know, when we travel, that's your responsibility. In my area, I would try to do everything that you guys may think is perfect. If I fail in one area, you couldn't kill me, because you sometimes fail when I'm sitting there waiting for you to score 100. So the discussion, I try to open their minds. I show some people what we do to plan a tour. And I said, have a sit here, have a look at that computer, click on that folder. About 500 subfolders drop down, and you see flights in one, visas in one, uniform in one. So, and they say, oh, manage, all of this you have to do to come on tour. I say, of course. And look where you're sitting, and you have not done not a single thing but to come and play. You know, so we have our role to play. They have our role, but I just think if we educate and open their minds to a lot of things that, you know, for both sides, it can work. And I'm well prepared to do that for quite some time.
Gerard Joseph, GBN. A question for all. You played for the West Indies, Grenada, over the years. Looking back at your career and the present state of cricket in Grenada, in terms of what's the difference now from when you played during your time cricket for Grenada? What is there the same type of quality?
Well, what I know for sure, I mean, being out there, I have to read a lot. You know, it's good that I'm exposed to Facebook and all, GBN and all the other media houses, so that I can read what's happening in cricket. And I think a lot of effort has been, the Grenada Cricket Association, the Ministry of Sports, and everyone. You know, sometimes I look at it and I smile, because when there was a 2020 tournament in the region, there was a lot of funds available to do a lot of things, where you could have invited all the teams into Antigua and, you know, pay them good salaries and give the local association money. So, you know, the finances were there to do that. But I think in the case of Grenada Cricket Association, and even the ministry to a lesser extent, we always know what programs we would like to see. But I think sometimes the cost to really run it effectively, it's a great cost to run it to the level where I would sit and say, this is ideal and this is what I like. Going back to my time, we just had a very good drive that we wanted to play cricket at the highest level. And especially when I sat in Union St. Andrews and I saw that Junior Murray made West Indies team. Now, for me, a West Indies team, even getting a West Indies shirt, now I'm wearing the blazer. It was a very difficult thing. They were not sold in Grenville. No one around had it. In Grenada, no one had. So you were kind of distant from West Indies itself. At least that's how I felt as a young cricketer up in the country. When Junior Murray made West Indies team, and I saw what he did, and I saw how the people reacted, and I saw what he could afford, I said, well, better start living with you, son, because that's what I would like to do. If this is what cricket can give you, then I have to start putting on my running shoes. And I followed Junior, and I give him a lot of credit for where I am today. Similarly to the guys that I grew up with, like Dominic Lewis, Steve Mohan, Anthony Dixon, many of them in the country, for exposing me to that level of training, that level of fitness work, you know, diet, and everything like that. So I just believe that in the modern time, we have to do a bit more teaching for the players. And like Joel said before, in the past, we just had the drive to do it. No one had to tell me that Christmas Day we can go to Tantin, Junior and myself, and practice for 2 hours. You look around, you couldn't see anybody. But it was Christmas Day, and we decided that we were going to practice. I'm not saying that the modern cricketer wouldn't do that. But I think for now, what I've seen, you may have to tell them, can we practice on Christmas Day? Are you coming? And then if it's 10 o'clock, some of them probably may want to come 10:05. And, you know, so you need a bit more control in this modern time, I believe, to guide the process, and also lots and lots of finances, which I'm sure the minister is working on.
Okay. My final question to you, Raul, in terms of the quality of coaching, kudos to the Cricket West Indies, also Cricket Association, for the recent coaching course that we had in Grenada, I think last week. Do you believe the quality of coaching is a problem for the quality of players that we see being produced?
Well, I wouldn't call it a problem. You know, you could always do with the highest level of coaching. You know, because if you have the best coaches, you probably, you know, you'd be exposed to, you know, better quality coaching at a higher level. But this is an area where we really have to tighten up on, you know, in every region, especially in Grenada, I could speak. There are a lot of coaches here who I'm sure give 100% every day. But in some cases, you may need to expose yourself a little bit more to what is done at the different levels, so you could actually understand where you want to guide your students to be. So to answer your question, I believe that we can do a lot of work in this area, and I'm sure that, you know, we will improve both the coaches and the players if that happens.
Question for the minister. Senator Cox, in terms of, well, we have highlighted in the beginning the cost and benefits of having such a, well, the benefits of having such a tournament in terms of we hosting the 2 one-days, the economic outlook projected for tourism. Before going forward, can you tell me in terms of what amount did government spend in terms of bidding to host the 2 matches?
That is a very difficult question, because we ain't look like we finished spending as yet. What I can tell you, I probably would not want to give a figure right now, but we have spent a couple $100,000 already so far, and it may be a couple $100,000 more going forward. We believe that this investment is important. Sports and cricket is important for Grenada. It's important for development of our young people. As a government, we have a responsibility to do everything that we can to keep them engaged. And as such, the costs, while we have a responsibility to manage the country's finances, we are more looking at opportunities that our young people are able to derive from this tournament, more than the cost. We are juggling with everything that we can, as I indicated earlier on. The CEO of West Indies Cricket, they have been working with us to see how we can address the issue of cost. But maybe Raul might give you an indication as to how much maybe a test match might cost if somebody have to bid. And it depends on where it is, as Joel said. But it's pretty expensive, that I can tell you. So apart from the cost for the match, we have all the other auxiliary costs in terms of hosting, preparations, everything else. So maybe after the games next year, we could probably tell you how much we would have invested in that initiative, and we can talk further. But for now, I can tell you the figure is going up. That is all I can say. It's going up. Good.
Thank you, Minister. To give the other side of the story, I think, which is why it's exciting, after you last hosted a game in 2014, we did a big research study. And we know that the direct economic impact of 1 day of international cricket is worth about $5 million to any particular country. Might be 4.5, might be 5.5, but on average it's about $5 million. So a couple of games of cricket plus the additional days of people in the region is significant. So, and I think that's why we're excited about working with yourselves and also the other governments who are featuring the games, because of everyone understanding by investing that it actually drives a lot of economic impact, let alone the social excitement, the health benefits, the participation benefits, and just the general tourism spotlight that's going to be on the country as well. So I just wanted to add that to give that perspective, because it's a big piece which you probably can't get in many other ways in the Caribbean, I would have thought.
Thank you, Dominic, for making that point.
But what I was going to add is that I think the main challenge that you will have is flights in and flights out. I can tell you that when there is cricket in the region, you have not only the international travelers, because you can get a group of 50 or 60 coming from Barbados. You can get the same 50 going from Barbados to Trinidad to Grenada, from Barbados to Grenada to St. Vincent. So it is not what the cost is, but getting the bodies here. And I know the challenges, because, like, when I say I'm under the stands, maybe you find me with 25 or 30 people from Barbados, 25 or 30 people from Trinidad. And that is where the following is. You get a lot of people from the region moving around watching the cricket. So, and I can tell you that this is one of the stops that people look forward to. And Roy was actually making fun of me last night, telling me I'm going home. And he said, no more. I am at home, yeah. But, I mean, it is not only the Barmy Army that you're looking at, but also people from within the region who will support the cricket. And everybody does well. Hotels, everybody. Trust me. It is a good 5 or 6 years that we will have in Grenada.
I just wanted to add to this part of the discourse that Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, who is also Minister of Finance and obviously an avid cricket fan, he spoke to this particular matter at a press briefing last week, and he said that the investment by government, it is sizable, but the economic spin-off that it will have for the country can be quite significant, particularly in the service industry and also with the number of visitors that are expected to come to Grenada. So while the investment by government is great, it is actually an investment into the economy, and we are expected to see significant returns from that for the local population. So just wanted to make that point. I think we're at the point where, do we have any further questions?
Final question. I know as the marketing person from Cricket West Indies, and I understand that England requested Grenada as part of the venue for that particular tour, right?
I don't know. If they did, wonderful, but I'm not aware of that.
Well, maybe I don't need to go further with the question, but just want to add though, what was the maybe you all could answer. What was the selling point for Grenada in that England wanted to come here? And maybe the minister could tell us what, I know the LOC is not yet in place, but in terms of a visitor experience in that particular game, that would I know Grenada is known for hosting international matches and at the top level, but what are in place now to ensure that the persons coming here from England, from the region and so on would be satisfied leaving Grenada and wanting to come back?
Well, I could answer the first part for you, because when you tour England and you associate yourself with persons in the UK and they ask you where you're from, and I say Grenada, you could immediately see it's like a big smile on their face, because a lot of persons who come to Grenada, the access, I mean, if you stay at the Radisson Hotel and you drive 15 minutes to the stadium, hassle-free, you look outside and, it's hard to concentrate on what you're saying if you're a visitor and you look and you see that view. So, a lot of persons that you get in contact with, they just love something about this island. I give you a story. There is one international umpire. When the schedule came out about 3 years ago, he saw something in the fixture. So he thought it was Grenada. He booked his family to come. When he really checked, it wasn't Grenada, it was another G in the Caribbean, and he immediately canceled because he said, I want to go to Grenada. Because everybody who comes to Grenada go back with something. The people, the food. Joel just mentioned to me about the food on match days. And I could give you examples where under 19 players, they still talk about the food that they got when we host a camp here in Easter one time. And even the senior team now, we start preparing. I spoke to the minister about it, that we'd like to have camps on the island as well, so guys could come and run up the Cemetery Hill and get fit and eat good food and so on. So I think we have a very good selling point, and I think a big part of it is the friendliness and the warmth of the people, and also the fresh local food. So just keep it coming whenever we come here, please. Thank you.
If I should just add quickly, I think a very important characteristic of our people and of our nation that was not mentioned, the safety that our visitors enjoy when they come to our shores. It cannot be understated. It's very important, and we believe that, and we make that appeal to all our people to continue to ensure that we sustain that level of safety and peace within our communities, because we can't put a price to that. We cannot put a price to that. So I think that is critical. As regards to the experience, the Grenada experience, this morning, Dominic had an initial meeting with the Minister for Tourism, and they are having some discussions in terms of preparing what will be done. So we start in on a good foot, although we don't have the LOC as yet, but the initial discussions have started as to how we can make this experience one that will be beneficial, not only for Grenada, but also for the image and the whole presence of Cricket West Indies in the region. The persons who are involved, have been involved in hosting of past games, and of course the Greater Cricket Association, we would rely heavily on their guidance and knowledge in terms of having a successful showing come 2019. Thank you very much. I think we're almost out of time.
Yes, I'll just invite our members of the panel to give some very brief closing statements. Starting with you, Ambassador Garner.
It's going to be very brief. I look forward to my all down at the back of the stand.
Well, I could organize that for you, sir. Well, you know, right. It feels very, very good to be here. You know, thank you guys for all that you've done, so I can get a visit to come home and, you know, in that capacity. And I just missed one thing that I had to say for that last question, that in cricket operations, the persons that we depend on to actually run the match, which is the LOC, I could tell you that the people that are in various positions in Grenada has done an excellent job. And that's one of the reasons as well. All areas are covered professionally, and people still talk about it. Thank you.
Yeah, and on behalf of Cricket West Indies, we'd just like to thank you again for the welcome. We'd like to thank you for the foresight and the decision to invest with us in bringing the cricket to Grenada. We want to have a great party here. We want to showcase Grenada. We want to showcase West Indies cricket. And I don't mind saying that as an Englishman. I hope that we can stuff the English when they do come here, because that's going to make it even more exciting. But ultimately, the two things are the 25th and the 27th of February. That's when we want everyone to come out. We want everyone to be excited, and we look forward to putting on a great show with all of the organising committee and everyone here in Grenada.
Thank you very much, Dominic. Mr. Cox, anything more?
I believe one of the most critical action that is required if we're to be successful at what we do for Cricket West Indies is that we must continue to play cricket. So I want to end on that. That is the only how we can improve. We must continue to play. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That brings us to the end of this particular post-cabinet briefing. Thank you so much. There is another press briefing that is going to take place right now. Senator Cox, I think you're also on the panel for that. We're going to have the launch of the Arts Festival. So do stay tuned. Thank you.
It is said that education is the key to success. The Grenada Development Bank believes this to be the truth. Hence the reason we have made it our prerogative to ensure that your key is in safe hands.
People are proudly Caribbean, and we continually strengthen the bonds of the people of the region as together we embrace our collective destiny. We are the children of Marcus Garvey and Bob Marley, of Vivian Richards and David Rudder. As Caribbean as West Indies cricket, and as Caribbean as the University of the West Indies. We are reggae, we are soca, we are one vibration. Break the chains of colonialism for one united Caribbean. The Caribbean Court of Justice.
Our special student loan is in collaboration with the government of Grenada, geared towards vulnerable persons who would like to pursue higher level education.
Remember, you must have proof of admission from a recognized institution here at home or abroad.
All our loans are 100% financing with interest rates as low as 5%.
Get your funding from GDB today for your tertiary level education, your technical training or vocational training, even professional development, with up to 12 years to repay. Your future success is today. Grab it now.
Good morning to you, Grenada Carriacou and a Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Hard Talk. My name is Sheldon Scott.
And I'm Devon Romain.
And they can't complain. They get a piece of steel pan.
Yeah.
And this time they get local, they get Angel Harps there.
Angel Harps.
Angel Harps. Just had the post-cabinet press briefing, and on that briefing we had the Honorable Senator Norland Cox. Yeah, and we also had Joel Garner, Big Bird.
Big Bird.
Yeah, we had Big Bird.
And our own Roy Lewis.
Yeah, and also a representative from West Indies Cricket Board, somebody else.
Marketing officer, something like that. Director of marketing.
Yeah, some other guy.
Strategy. Some other guy.
Yeah. It's a hot day on the Isle of Spite. Man, it's been hot day and night. Day and night. Unless you're living in Granitang or you're living by Nazim and Willis. Day and night. Yeah.
Heated, man.
Yeah, it's really hot. Believe me.
For
Wow.
days now.
And we're not saying this to tease those of you in the diaspora.
Yeah.
It is actually extremely,
very hot.
Extremely hot. Yeah? Nice.
And it's not a kind of heat that we want. The kind of heat remind me of summer in New York and in Toronto.
That
and
kind of sticky
yeah,
heat.
that kind of heat, sticky kind of thing you don't really need. You understand? That is the kind of thing. Hey,
good. Felix, good morning to you, sir. Yeah, man. Hey, we're looking forward to World Championships next year, man. I practicing screaming and thing from now. Yeah, to shout and scream and thing, I practicing from now. Yeah, because you know, full support, you know, not no 100%, you know, infinity %. Yep. Yeah, you know we there behind you. Nice, beautiful.
Good morning to all of you on the live, wherever you are.
And interesting.
Joining us.
Yeah, interestingly though, Devon, hey, let's say a very special happy birthday to Mr. Raphael George, otherwise known as Muscles, the muscle man. Yeah, don't treat me so.
Take a bow, boss. Happy birthday to you.
And belated happy birthday to our good brother and alumni of Hard Talk, Ian Edwards. Yesterday was his birthday. But we so bad into quarrel with our woman in Carriacou for stupidness that we forget to tell brother Ian happy birthday. Yeah? So good. You know we there behind you 100%. And we've been speaking about sports. They've been speaking about sports and the tour, the English tour, which is going to be the largest tour in over a decade of the English team in the Caribbean. And you know, one of the things that should be noted here, when the tour was being planned, Garfield, yeah, hey, watch, we're passing by Garfield's bar later, eh? Making a look pass by Garfield's bar? Yeah, we're making a pass by Garfield's bar. Garfield, look out for me. Nice? Right, we're passing down. Cindy, good morning. Nice, we're passing by Garfield's bar later. Yeah, one of the things that should be noted, Devon, is that the English team, the players and the support staff and everything, they said no matter what, make sure. Where that noise coming from there? By me. Oh, that by you? Yeah. Right, yeah. I thought it was something I touched, you know. Yeah. So because I hear it in my headphones, I wonder if it coming through here. Yeah. The thing is this, the English team said that they, no matter what, make sure that Grenada is part of the tour. That says a lot about Grenada. Yeah. That says a lot about Grenada. You know, so many times people focus on the negatives or the perceived negatives. Because sometimes what is a negative for you might be a positive for me. And sometimes it may be something positive. But just because of your mindset, you see it as a negative. Yeah? So imagine the English cricket team. They're coming to the Caribbean. They didn't say they want to go to Trinidad and Trinidad is a must. They didn't say they want to go to Jamaica, the land of wood and water. They didn't say they want to go there. That is a must. They didn't say they want to go to St. Vincent is a must, or that they must go to Dominica, even though they had the hurricane and so they want to lend some support is a must. But you know what they said? Grenada. We must come to Grenada. Because you know what they remember? They remember being here during the World Cup. They also remember being here afterwards, quite recently, within the last few years, when they were here while they were touring the Caribbean and they came to Grenada. I remember meeting one. There's a blind Englishman who travels around with the team following matches, blind, so he can't see. Okay. But he listens and he just wants to be in the stadium while the team is playing, and he follows them wherever they're going and so on. So they have quite a few people behind them. Yeah, and imagine the Englishmen who travel throughout the world. They go to Sri Lanka and India, Pakistan, they go to South Africa, they go to Canada, Australia, New Zealand. They travel to all these countries. And they said when they're coming to the Caribbean, that Grenada, the Isle of Spice, must be one of the destinations for the cricket tour. They didn't really care what the rest is. Yeah. Something about Grenada. They just care that Grenada, no, they said it, that Grenada must be one of the venues. Yeah, so even if we didn't want it, they say they come in here and they want to come here. You heard the story from Roll, where he was speaking about the umpire. He had that CRG, so he thought it was Grenada. So he see a G when he go through the thing, man even reconfirm. He just I go in there, book the thing for his flight, book his family, everything, and then realize afterwards it's another G. Another G, we wrong G.
How many G's we have around? 1, 2.
Grenada and Guyana.
Yes.
I ain't thinking to any other G in
Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe doesn't play cricket.
Guadeloupe doesn't play cricket. You know what them Frenchmen does play up there. So it's wrong G. The man decide that he's coming here.
Cancel the whole thing.
So I'm sure he's booked his flight with, and they're not just coming on their own. These individuals are booking the flights for themselves and their families for them to come here.
And you know what would be interested, Sheldon? When that two game is being played in Grenada, it's basically in the peak of the tourist season.
Yeah, I know where we finding room to put them people in.
And that's my concern, eh?
Well, we have Airbnb. Minister Modest, if you got an opportunity and you can give us a call, please. I'm trying to get the real deal with the Airbnb or Airbnb or Air and NB. I'm not sure how they say it, but it's this thing where you can, like, you have your apartment, you fix up an apartment, and you can advertise it through that network.
Okay.
To persons who are coming to Grenada for a specific period of time. And they're able to go there and they can see what the apartment looks like and so on, find out other information and book online. So you can have a downstairs apartment, or you have an upstairs. Some people live downstairs and they have the upstairs, or they have an apartment next to theirs or whatever and they want to rent it out. So they can put it on Airbnb or
Airbnb.
Airbnb, right? Yeah. So I said I don't know how to say it. Good, you go know because you probably just use it too. Right. So you go there and you can book and so. So it's an option for some of the persons that are coming to Grenada and so on. It's a fairly cheaper option for a lot of persons that are coming to Grenada. But remember, these Englishmen say for sure they want to come here. So Grenada, and I find a lot of people starting to watch Grenada with Qatar in the Caribbean. We had to be careful, boy, right? Just know we had to bathe with all kind of bush. Yeah, you had to bathe with bush and all kind of thing. Next thing we get Maljo. Some of them may understand what we mean when we say Maljo. Yeah. Boy. When last you hear about Maljo?
Well, for a long time.
Boy, next thing you get Maljo, you better put on a blue bag with your piece of garlic in it.
Not only that, when children born, all know when children newborns and so parents particular about that, they put the little black and red bead on the hand and things. So I find a woman watching my child too much, boy. She want to give child Maljo or what?
Maljo, bad eye.
Bad eye.
Yeah,
you know,
Maljo.
I mean, we believe in a lot of things that's. But hey.
Dying, now boy, up to this day,
I won't die.
Boy, the smallest child.
Somehow we have some truth into some of the things people believe in. What you know?
Somewhere in between there.
Yeah, because that's things been there from our foreparents, man. Small Joe thing, so it has to be something that's about it that is not good.
Maljo, man. Well, let's say start with pan every day. So
every day, pan.
We don't mind. We have no problem doing that.
Loving it.
Yeah, boy, Maljo.
What is Maljo? Anybody out there could tell us what is Maljo?
Yeah, a lot of people could tell you what is Maljo, but anyway, you take it just make sure your chat don't drop.
Yeah.
All right, so the team is coming here. It will be in the peak of the tourist season, peak period there. So it's going to add to the numbers of people outside of the cruise ship visitors and the stayover visitors. It's going to increase the number of stayover visitors in Grenada during that period of time.
A couple of thousand.
Most of these players and officials and so on, they travel with their families, especially as this winter is going to be, according to all intents and purposes, a very, what again you use? Bitter? Yeah, a very bitter winter. There is the high likelihood that these people would want to be out of the UK at that point in time. So they're going to come. And as well as the Barmy Army, the throng of followers that go wherever the English cricket team is going. And they as well travel as family in a lot of instances. It's retired people in many instances. And some of them are younger ones. They're on vacation. They decide to follow the English team where they're going. And so, yeah, the Three Lions, they're going with it. Nice. So we have that. Minister spoke of some of the things that will be taking place at the National Stadium. There already is a team on the ground, a Grenada Chinese team that's here on the ground, have been doing the assessment of the facility since last week. So they ain't just go in and start. They've been doing an assessment since last week. So they'll be checking various things. The state of the bathrooms and toilet facilities. The state of the field itself. Right? The state of the field. The operational aspects of things like, for instance, the scoreboards. Both of the scoreboards, pretty obsolete right now. They would have been dating back to 10 years ago. And these days, things obsolete by the following year.
Yeah, 6 months.
These date back to over 10 years ago. So they're pretty obsolete right now. They have been having their technical issues and so. And he did mention that they spoke to some of the local service providers that just in case the scoreboards cannot be replaced, because I don't think they will be repaired. In this case, I think is a replace. In case they cannot be replaced in time, that there is another option that can be used locally, sourced and available locally, that can be used in their place. So we have that. Outside of that, we have they're going to be looking at the seats and so on, because you may have a seat that's broken here, and one or two areas that may need a little paint, a little brightening up, all those different aspects of it. So the team has already been doing their work at the stadium facility. They would have been on the ground since last week. A joint Chinese-Grenadian team would have been going through checking the structural integrity of the building and all different aspects to make sure that you have a very safe and secure activity there at the Grenada National Stadium facility next February. Yeah.
25th and 27th.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting.
What day would that be of the week? What day of the week?
Boy, I got to check that one for you now. I got to check that one. But before I check that one, let's just get down to this one before we start going to the phone lines, which I see blazing up. You go deal with that one, I go deal with this one. So let me deal with this one first, then I go deal with that one.
Yep.
All right, nice. Tuesday, today, there are going to be several constituency meetings. So St. David, they'll be having their meeting in Pomrose by the RC School. And St. Patrick, they'll be having their meeting at the St. Patrick Anglican School. That's specifically St. Patrick West, the constituency of the Honorable Anthony Boson. They'll be meeting at the St. Patrick Anglican School. Both meetings are going to be taking place from 6 p.m. On Thursday, right? Not tomorrow. There are no meetings tomorrow. But on Thursday, the team goes out to Brunswick in Carriacou at the Golden Rock Club. In St. Andrew Southeast, that's the Honorable Emlyn Pair out there in Marquis at the basketball court. St. George Northwest, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, he'll be in Mount Moritz. And St. Patrick East, the team will be out there in River Sally, that's the Honorable Pamela Moses. St. George Southeast, they'll be in at the Marian Multipurpose Center. There you'll have the Honorable Gregory Bowen. All meetings taking place at 6 p.m. You can come on out, hear about what has been taking place in your constituency, also offer your suggestions and so on, and hear what is to come for your constituency. On Saturday, the team will be out in St. Andrew Northeast and St. Andrew Northwest at the Paradise Preschool. So I confirmed yesterday the Paradise Preschool. That'll be St. Andrew Northeast and St. Andrew Northwest. In St. David on Saturday from 6 p.m., they'll be at the current government school. St. George Northeast, they'll be at the First Choice School. That's the Honorable Tobias Clement and the Honorable Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. They'll be at the First Choice Preschool in Tempe for 6 p.m. Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Good morning, Kindra, Matthew, and Stuart. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Yes, so for Petit Martinique, they'll be at the Petit Martinique RC School this Saturday from 6 p.m. St. George Southeast and South St. George, they'll be in Calivini. And that'll be from 6 p.m. The Honorable Gregory Bowen, Honorable Nicholas Steele. You know, Calivini part of it in South and part of it in Southeast. Yeah, Calivini is a kind of place.
A lot of constituencies are like that, you know.
Calivini is kind of my area too, one of my areas too. Okay, Springs, Woodlands, Woba, and Calivini. You understand? So it's a kind of thing. Yeah, Devon, you're fogging up the place?
Yeah, we're fogging up the place.
Fog up the place, man.
Notice from the Senior Environmental Health Officer, date 11 September. This is to inform you that the Vector Control Division of the Ministry of Health will be conducting fogging operation on the following days and in the following areas in an effort to reduce the incidences of dengue fever that is currently on the rise. This phase of fogging operation would target areas of suspect and confirmed dengue cases and areas where entomologically
that's why I hand you because I tap on it, so I hand you the tie up.
Pardon me.
Don't feel it's you. I hold a tap on it. That's why I give you.
I carry it out. The schedule for fogging program 2018 as of today, Tuesday, right, the 11th day of September. The areas are Blaze, including Upper St. John's and its environment, from 5 p.m. On Wednesday, the 12th September, St. John's, St. Andrews, right, and its environs, 5 p.m. Thursday, 13th September, Carrier, St. Andrews, and its environs, 5 p.m. Also, on Wednesday, the 12th, and Thursday, the 13th of September 2018, the Vector Control Unit of the Ministry of Health will conduct drum cover demonstration with the people of Upper St. John's and Carrier. The objective of this demonstration is to educate and empower the people of those communities on proper drum covering techniques in protecting their water storage receptacles from the breeding of the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes.
So that's going to be where? They're going to be doing that drum covering?
Basically in St. John's and Carrier in St. Andrews. St. John's and Carrier, two villages, you know, aside in St. Andrews, right? That's in the constituency of Northeast, right? And so the drum covering techniques and so will be shown to the visitor, to the villagers and so, you know, to educate them much better, because sometimes we have drums that have water and we just take something and just put it over it, enabling the Aedes aegypti mosquito to get into it and breed, you know, and so on. That's a problem. So they will be carrying out the demonstrations to do it proper drum covering techniques. Need to go out there.
Let's make a suggestion to the team out there at the environmental department, the vector control department. When you're doing that, myself and Devon suggest that you carry a team from the GIS, Government Information Service.
Yes.
And that you film the procedure, and that is circulated via social media, given to GBN, MTV, WPG10, as well as circulated on GIS television. That's our humble suggestion.
Yep.
That way, it may not be necessary to go to every area in Grenada. But once things circulate on social media, they get a pretty good coverage.
As what is done.
Yeah. So get a camera guy from the Government Information Service, probably a reporter and a cameraman. Let them tape the process, have them edit it properly at the GIS, and get them to circulate that. All right? Okay, Popo?
Much more.
And if you can't get anybody from the GIS, because the GIS, I don't know the schedule for the week, but usually they have their schedule for the week from the week before. Just in case you can't get, link me and Devon. Link us.
Yeah, we will find. We have our technical team there that that we can do certain things.
Where they going today?
Today, Tuesday the 11th, Blaze, including Upper St. John's and an environment. That's in St. Andrews, right? Blaze, Upper St. John and its environment. Not St. John's, St. John and its environment. Right? So that's in the St. Andrews Northeast. And so Parliamentary Representative Skeeter Lewis,
and the vector control, another thing, I got some complaints from some people up in Telescope. They say, oh gosh, help them out. They're begging, they're pleading. Yeah, some of the people them down, I think they say by the grandstand or something.
Yes, down by the grandstand or around that area there.
They're pleading. They say, oh gosh, but they say mosquito boxing them down. Yeah, they can't take it. They say
a lot of boxing.
No mosquito boxing them left and right. Mosquito boxing them left and right. So folks, they say mosquito boxing them left and right. So check the guys down there, the people down there by the grandstand in Telescope. Yeah, they having a local issue with them mosquito and them.
And just another footnote from the senior environmental health officer too. The drum covering demonstration, right? Meeting in front of Carl's shop, Upper St. John on Wednesday. So tomorrow Wednesday, right? It will be in front of Carl's shop, Upper St. John. Okay? 5 p.m.
Also, a note to take, folks, on Friday, there'll be a Senate sitting. Yeah, the Senate will be sitting on Friday, and they will be discussing the CCJ bill. That'll be debated this Friday at the Senate. So those of you that can make it down to Parliament, put on your nice dandan, shine up your shoes and all kind of thing. You used to use Vaseline and things and shiny shoes. When it does come on it, but it does kind of connect. So the Vaseline wasn't always a wise thing.
No, Vaseline was shiny shoes.
For the short term on concrete, But the dust does kind of. But I used to use Vaseline and things.
The among the silver one thing I use already to shine bottle belt, both for my father and being a soldier. I mean, you have to shine them thing and them to make it, and silver one thing that was to go.
My grandfather was an old ex-police, so he used to make me shine everything. So
watch right now. I just be on that topic.
I still have a shoe brush he gave me when I was about 10 years old. So.
I mean, right now we're not seeing the police. In my view, the police officers shine up the belts and the buttons and things as before. Man, when you look at the boots you have some that still
I have some partners there.
But
if sunshine hit them at a certain angle, you're blind. Exactly. No, I have some police partner there, boy.
But
you find you ain't watching them. It's not you ain't watching them because you're afraid to watch the police. You ain't watching them because you're afraid they get blind.
The
the brim of the hat.
Oh man,
The crown
I'm
on the
telling you, right
on
on
the
the
hat.
crown. Yeah, the little
shining
silver
that-
thing on the shoulder. The
Yeah.
little pip, and so.
Epaulets. No, not the epaulets. The whatever they call it.
Yeah, little silver thing, and then the silver buttons, man. This thing used to be glittering. You can't. That's why persons never used to want to watch a police officer. Not because they're scared of them with eye contact, but because of the shine, the glitter that they have on them. You understand? And it still happens, right or wrong now. But you know, as time goes by, you have different ways in you know, on dress code and everything like that. But it was a sight to look at, man. You know. Good morning to all the police officers, prison officers, Coast Guard, immigration officer, all the members of the Royal Grenada Police Force,
You know,
and the different.
we're going to do something special this morning.
Good morning.
We're going to say a very special good morning to Karani James.
Yeah.
Because like some of us just only remember Karani when he running.
When he running.
Right?
Good morning, the Jaguar.
I don't know if he running, if he not running. I don't know what going on with
Yeah,
him.
we in business about what he doing, but it's a good morning for him. Yeah, like, you know, and you know, that's some of the thing, the little things, you know, that we do, right? Always, you know, it's be so important. You know, when we have, and not just Kirani, but most of our athletes and so who's out there, or even right here in Grenada, who has been contributing over the years, right, towards the development of sports, and so, you know, through the, you know, different areas, and so, you know, we need to always recognize them. A good morning, you know, a good evening, hello, see how they're doing. Not because, as Sheldon said, they're not running or being active in that particular sport, but
Anderson
we have to
Peters,
show
he came
them off.
third in a meet just this week gone. You have Anderson Peters, Markham Felix, Candisa Scott. You have the netball team. They were mentioned by the minister.
Josh Botang.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you have the Grenada football team.
Yeah, and then you have the Grenada football team. 10 zip. If it was in Grenada, I mean, it would have been something else. But hey, you guys.
The bottom line is this: you all are still our team.
Of course.
Right?
Proud.
We 10 zip. Next time we hold them, we go get them 20, and then after we hold them, we go get them at 50. And we had to hold on to Curacao. We want to play them again.
We go get Gem.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has an off day, and I'm not gonna be joking and thing on it. I'm not gonna be upset over it. I don't like it.
That's football.
It's not something I could be happy about. That we got beaten 10-0 by Curacao of all countries. Well, that is not even a full country. It's a dependency in it. Curacao is not even an independent country. They are dependency. So to get beaten 10 zip by Curacao is one thing. But again, it depends on the team that was fielded, the circumstances in which they were fielded. Sometimes, I'm not making excuses, but just saying that there are different elements that have to be looked at. Maybe it means that we as the Grenadian people have to start supporting the football team a little more.
A lot more.
And when I say start supporting them a little more, it might be the businesses getting involved and saying, okay, we're going to help you get a direct flight instead of having to fly to one country, two countries, three countries, four countries, and then take a bus for 12 hours before you get to a place to play a football match. You're going to be tired. So maybe it means that the business community has to chip in a little bit. It might mean that those of us that have members of the football team that working for us ain't going and send them to work construction and all kind of thing. Because remember, we do not have a professional football team here, you know. We do have a set of guys that playing in leagues in the UK
all over the world,
and in Italy and in France and so on that come back for national duty. We have guys that had to go and work construction, go and mix cement, lift bags of cement, go and mix concrete by hand.
Carpenters.
Yeah. Guys who had to go and jog. If for those of you that may not understand what jog carry, right? Those guys had to go and jog concrete block and all kind of thing, push wheelbarrow, working hard construction. And these are the same guys that coming back and report for national duty when it comes to football and cricket and boxing and this kind of thing. If we have to improve, and that's why we can't look down at them and be upset about them right now, if we have to improve the standard of our sporting arenas here in Grenada, we must approach this thing from a professional level. These guys have to be paid to be athletes. I make no apologies for that. They have to be paid to be athletes.
Definitely.
Yeah, we can't be upset that Team Grenada goes out there and get beaten 10-0 and then not do something to help the situation. Either we create a professional league, and when we say a professional league, not just saying guys are professionals and they're playing, but they come from work in the evening and then they go and play, and then they go home and they rest or so, or they go in a bar and they take a few beers, and then they go home and so, and then they play a match maybe 2 weeks or next week or whatever, they play a match again. Not like that. Taking this thing on a serious level, that you have guys that are paid to play. Yeah? If we're not at that level and we don't have a team that is mainly consisting of professional players, guys that are paid to play, there's only so much that these guys could do. They're human beings. They're human beings. They have their families to see about. And some of them, they leave to go and play and come back to no job. And it happens not only to the guys who play in football, it happens to guys who play, the ladies who play in netball. It happens to some cricketers. It happens to some other athletes and so, that they're in a job and they leave, and like some bosses can't understand. I don't know how patriotic they call themselves.
Not understand, they just don't have respect for that person.
Yeah, that person's gone and they say, well, okay, I have to get somebody else to handle the job. So the person come back and there's no job. I saw it happen to boxers for many years. That a boxer would go and report for national duty and they travel to Europe or wherever and come back and then I'd be looking for a job. And you had people in the boxing association that be fighting up and hurting the head to try and find a job for this person or that person or the other.
It has been a problem for football in Grenada for, I mean, a lot of years when it comes to, the national team and so. Yeah. But I think one of the things that the GFA, in collaboration with the Ministry of with FIFA and the Ministry of Sports, and so I don't know what they do. You have players on contract, like you give a group of players a contract for, let's say, 2 years leading up to a particular tournament, and you find the resources to pay them a salary for that 2 years once they qualify with the criteria and everything like that. That may be a start.
You go in and have man had to go. Sometimes they didn't have breakfast.
Yeah.
Sometimes all they eat for the day is they might cook a oil down on the block and that's what they eat in the afternoon. And then these guys go in and report for national duty.
They have to be disciplined in the training, what they eat, what they drink.
But they could only be disciplined in their eating and their drinking if they are receiving enough of a proper stipend to be able to be.
Salary.
And for, I mean, if you're reporting for national duty, at least the few months before, you should be in a training camp.
Of course.
You should be provided with a monthly stipend because you have your family to take care of. You must do that. That must be done. If we can't do that, we won't have a professional team.
Yeah, you just better. And
then you're going to hear more results like 10, how much?
10 and 15.
Yeah, we're going to see more of that. Yeah, and that's on the back of what we got from Jamaica the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've just been adding them.
And we have
but Cuba we cannot blame the team.
We have Cuba coming up again, which is a more
well, you better learn to speak Espanol.
Yeah.
We cannot continue to do things in the same way and expect a different result. So we must look at the professional league sponsored by major businesses. And in my view as well. And hey, let me also say a happy birthday to Selwyn Noel.
Oh yeah.
Durity.
Durity.
Happy birthday to you, bro. And I have to call you back. I forget. I'll call you. I'll call you. Papa, I'll call you, eh? Nice, yeah. Yeah, it is my belief that certain playing fields ought to be vested in clubs. For Queen's Park Grounds 2, that should be Queen's Park Rangers. Yeah, that should be vested in Queen's Park Rangers. So you want to use the facility, you pay Queen's Park Rangers a certain amount. They allow you to use the facility, or they have the option to allow you to use it for free. And they can put up stands and develop the facility. That should be Queen's Park Rangers.
But then you would face a problem with teams in St. George's.
No, but what I'm saying, I'm just using an example. So I believe that individual teams should have different facilities vested in them. Another team in St. George could end up having Tanti invested in them. Or Old Trafford, as small as it may be. Or Montrouge, or the Limes, or Monjalou, or Tempe. There are many fields that go around. And different teams can have fields vested in them. And they can get the funding together with businesses. I know some businesses would like to see they stand on it. Because, I mean, when it comes to basketball and so in the States and so, you had things like the Toyota Center and the Kia Center, and you had this and that, and all these different things. Wrigley's Field, and so when it comes to baseball and all of those things. And on a smaller level, together with the football teams, we can have these facilities developed, vested in them, and they are the ones that are responsible for upkeep and developing, along with a strategic plan for how you develop these playing fields around Grenada. Grenada has over 30-something playing fields. When you check Dominica and them, they ain't even at 10.
Got Vincent right there.
They ain't even at 10. We have how much playing fields?
In almost every village.
We have roughly about 4 or 5 400-meter tracks. Outside of the Grenada National Stadium, you have a 400-meter track in Tantine.
St. David's.
You have one in La Sagesse in St. David. So you have Tantine, La Sagesse, St. David, Progress Park, and I think Hillsborough in Carriacou.
What about St. John's? Not there as yet.
St. John, I believe as well. So it may be about 6. Yeah, with a 400-meter track. One of them I'm thinking is not fully a 400-meter. One of them is more like 350. I'm trying to remember which. Oh no, that's if you were using the cricket stadium. I think it's 350, not 400. And one of the others that I mentioned there, I believe, is actually not the full 400. It's a little under. But you have these facilities. Other countries wish they had that.
Might be St. Patrick's.
We have a caller.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Yeah,
hello.
Wow. Okay, that person is gone. And just a note I just received here, tropical weather outlook for the tropical North Atlantic. A large area of disturbed weather over the extreme northwestern Caribbean Sea and the southeastern Gulf of Mexico has a 30% chance through 48 hours and 60% chance through 5 days becoming a cyclone. Non-tropical area of low pressure is forecast to form over the northeastern Atlantic, and as okay, well, you see all this kind of technical data and thing. Bottom line, nothing coming Grenada right now, okay? Because Grenada is not under any threat. Let me just skip to that part here, because all this kind of technical data and thing. What happened? Me no forecaster, right? Based on the present motion and forecast track, Isaac is expected to pass north of Grenada and does not pose an immediate threat to the state, not the estate, or the state, right? The state of Grenada. All right. Elsewhere, tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 48 hours. All right. So again, tropical storms Florence, well, Hurricane Florence, Hurricane Helen, and tropical storm Isaac, none of them pose a threat to Grenada at present.
Good news.
We're not under warning. We're not under watch. We're not even under peep, much less watch. So we're not under anything. All right? Nice. Good.
We're under the table.
Yeah, maybe we're under the table. We have a caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, my friend.
Mr. Scott, good morning, sir. And Devon, you too, and your listening audience.
Thank you. Morning.
Well, you know, Mr. Scott, I don't blow me on here, but you know, you didn't hear me at all last week. And just like I told you before the last election that the election will not be won on the airwaves, because you could bomb from the air all you want, but at the end of the day,
you have to come down.
You have to come down in the trenches. And the last week was just that. You know, the referendum will not just be won on the airwaves, but like I've said, you know, you have to be down in the trenches. And make no mistake about it, Mr. Scott. In the Northwest, in St. Andrews, we are approaching this thing just as we had approached the last March 13. Now, Mr. Scott, the English team, when it's come to cricket, the English team love Grenada. Why? Because they does have some memorable experience here. Grenada is safe. We are a hospitable people. We are welcoming. Our food is great. And we are like our Prime Minister. We love people. Why does I say all of this, Mr. Scott? Now, yeah, Mr. Scott, you have to talk on that one. The investigation that was supposed to take place after the failure of Panorama. I mean, how come it takes so long, Mr. Scott, for such an investigation to complete? I mean, how come by now the findings is not on the desk of the relevant authority? You know, it's a basic investigation based on, what took place. Now, the other point is that our footballers, our athletes, how come during the revolution, people that left their jobs, to go and represent the country in sports or otherwise, how come they never lose their job?
Even during Gary
Because
era.
employers knew what time it was. Now, my final point here. Now, gentlemen, Mr. Scott, I pick up the Trinidad stations from my area quite clear and clean. So I listen to the talk shows and the other program quite regular. Gentlemen, when I listen to TNT Problems, I'm very proud of Grenada. Yes, we have some problems here, but we are going good. We are on the right track. Gentlemen, have a pleasant day.
All right, thank you very much. And that's the thing, St. Vincent, over 20 murders. St. Lucia, closing in on 30 murders for the, and I say murders, yeah, close to 30 murders in St. Lucia for the year, over 20 in St. Vincent for the year. They are having a hard time. And someone was calling us on the overseas line. Give us a call back. Yeah, give us a call back right now. Yeah, they've been having a hard time. They've been having it rough. Yeah. And you could very well understand why the English team then would not want to go to those places, why they would want to come to Grenada.
Good morning and welcome. Hello.
Wow.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, caller, you're live.
Hello?
Yes. You're live, caller. Go right ahead.
Good morning, Sheldon. Morning, Devon. Morning,
Good
the rest of the listening community of Hard Talk.
Good morning.
Okay, Sheldon, just calling to make 2 points. In unison with the previous caller who spoke about the reporting from the different countries in terms of their problems compared to Grenada. I think Grenadians are not very aware of how blessed they are. We may have some hiccups in terms of, say, the economy, but as I would say, if you look at the norm that is going on in Grenada, things are bad. But when you look outside there as to what is going on in the other countries, we're not even as close to what's going on, especially in just our neighboring island of Trinidad and Tobago, especially when it comes to crime. When you look at the news on a daily basis, it's just heartbreaking, right? And the other thing is with the athletes in particular. Well, so sad to hear about the footballers and the outcome, but as I said earlier, it's we as you said, rightfully said, Devon, we have to invest, and we have to invest in our athletes. And if athletes are not even, if they do not have a steady job in where to maintain themselves, how would they be able to perform at the level that we expect them to when they go represent our country? Because as we know, without a job, your mind is not settled, right? And we should definitely look at, even when the persons are being called up to represent our country, I believe that maybe, I'm not sure if we could have a committee or something where that we have them have a job in terms of being able to maintain themselves, because as anyone know, if your brain is not fed, nothing else would not be able to be possible, right? Yep. And if that psychological part of it is not being taken care of, then we definitely would have a problem later on down the line. And another thing with the employment, in no way I can see that any employer with a good heart would not take somebody back who go to represent their country. And my thing is that we have to support them before they become big. So before Kirani was Kirani James, right? We should have been supportive of him since he was in primary school before he reached the way he did. That's just my contribution today.
All right. Thank you so very much, caller. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And the caller is absolutely right.
Right on point.
Yeah. Some of them, you see them in primary school, and so help them out.
Help them out. Start
you see,
from there.
do like Depot and them. Depot does organize, whether it's cleats and so. And listen, we're not going to wait until the sports season starts up to try to do those little drive and so on. There are a lot of people that do things and they don't come out and go and make it public, and so they organize shoes for schools and that kind of thing.
person, and we could call a few person like Depot and them.
Yeah.
Who's out there in the US.
Mr. Watts.
Mr. Watts.
I could tell you Mr. Watts, Zingo,
and
Kathy.
Kathy.
All
of
of these people
they
organize
contribute.
and help. So when you see the people like in fact, let me don't call name, but okay, I could call one. The Anderson Peters and them. Know that there are people who, when they see them, there's a certain amount of pride that could come up because they could say, listen, before everybody know your name, I didn't know your name. Before everybody know your name, I didn't know your name. There are people that could come out and Mr. Watts, a certain amount of, and Cathy, and Zingo, that could come out and watch him and they say, yes, watch him.
I feel good.
Especially when he bring home the Olympic medal that he go in and bring home. Not telling all you, I ain't asking all you, telling all you Anderson Peters bringing home our Olympic medal.
It's a good feeling anyway.
He's bringing home, mark my words. Today, September 11th, yeah, we know what September 11th was about, right? Okay, all right, okay. Been there, done that 17 years ago, planes thing, right? Okay, yeah. Condolences to the, oh boy, Mom, I know it's kind of hard for you. And I know you're listening hard talk this morning. Yeah. So condolences again to you. One of the mothers of one of the victims of September 11th, one of the Grenadian victims, she listens to Hard Talk every single day. And I know that she's listening to Hard Talk there right now. I know you're not too well now, but I know that she's listening to Hard Talk there right now. So again, we know it's always hard for you when this day comes around.
That day come around.
Yeah. We have another call on the overseas line.
Good morning and welcome.
Yes, Devon, good morning.
Hey,
morning to you, Sheldon.
Good morning to you, Leslie. Hello.
Aloha. Well, I listening to you guys this early morning. Well, early for me. And I go joke at Ant's Nest. Now, we're speaking about football. I could speak about football. Now, we could have a lot of more good performance of our national team. But when certain people, and I'm saying here, when certain people get material from FIFA and have it in their storeroom lock up and getting dry rot, and persons not getting it to use, that again contributes to a failure of our football team. I'll leave it right there, let the news go and do their research, and they go see what I really had to joke that Ant's Nest because it's been there for a very long time. And this is thing that I personally know.
Okay.
So have a good day.
All right, brother.
All right, my friend. Have a wonderful day.
Denise,
how you late so, girl? Hey.
Material saying football, this, that's one thing. I know that quite a lot of material is being used in the grassroots program throughout the island, through FIFA, through the Grenada Football Association. I know that a lot of stuff is given out to schools, a lot of stuff is given out to various sporting teams, and a lot of stuff goes out to the grassroots program and other programs, training programs, which they have. Maybe you don't hear as much about it as you used to before, but there are training programs that happen nearly every month. You have different qualification. In fact, right now, they're looking for referees, and so people who are interested in being referees could contact the Grenada Football Association. Yeah, so they're looking for people to train as referees and other match officials, linesmen, and so on. So you could contact them right now. Yeah? So I don't really know what you're talking about. And Leslie, you know, I know you. So something you know and you ain't want to see. But
Inbox.
Yeah. And I ain't say box, man.
Yeah, inbox.
I ain't say box, man. Right. Okay. Yeah, you know I could defend myself. Right.
Inbox us and then we'll decide how we can
Next
have.
thing I get a lash of breadfruit all the way from they have breadfruit in Hawaii. I confirm they have breadfruit.
But not kind of a different name, I'll call that.
They call it by a different name, but I see one of the sickest thing ever. I see them Hawaiian eating ripe breadfruit raw. They let the breadfruit ripe, and when it's raw and it's sappy, they taking it and they just take it up and eat it just so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they could do that one. Probably they accustomed to it. They could probably stand it. We in the Caribbean is like, ugh. When you ripe and you know when you real ripe and you get like waiting for it.
Like pig food, man. Like for us.
Nah, we can't call the people pig.
No, I say for us. For us, that's, you know.
Well, it's the same thing as it's the same thing as mangoes that you call hog mango here and Trinidadians eat that.
Yeah,
that is mango for Trinidadians. Certain people in Trinidad call it hog mango here, but Trinidadians eat it.
But the same type of breadfruit you have in
Trinidadians don't eat blugger or moko. You generally the average Trinidadian considers that pig food. They don't eat it, but we eat blogger over here. So it's just according to where you are.
Where you are.
Yeah, so they eat ripe breadfruit.
And your preference.
They eat ripe breadfruit.
We fry the ripe breadfruit.
Boy, I ain't even frying that now.
That one, he passed the stage of frying it.
Boy, I'll go show you after the program finished.
Definitely.
I'll go show you what I'm talking about.
Show me what you're talking about.
I couldn't believe it.
Oh
but yeah,
God.
so we have a limited amount of time. Yeah, we couldn't really get deeply into certain things today because what me say don't pass you, so don't feel like talking about what take place in Carriacou. It was garbage people again. I'm coming back on it.
We have to come back on that.
But tomorrow we will be discussing the CCJ. We should have a guest or guests in studio with us from the advisory committee. Should be in studio with us tomorrow for us to have a discussion on the issue of the Caribbean Court of Justice. I see some people trying to twist the issue. Let me say this. The Caribbean Court of Justice is an issue that is important to you. It's important to your children. It's important to your children's children. Somebody dies and they leave a piece of land for you. And somebody challenges the will. And you go through the local courts, the high court, you go to the regional appeals court, and you didn't get through. And you now have to go to the Privy Council. You better just forget that piece of land or whatever the person leave for you in will, because you can't afford to go to the Caribbean Court of Justice. The Privy Council. But you can go to the Caribbean Court of Justice. And you don't even have to go. You can stay here in Grenada in the comfort of your own home.
Right
with
here in this
camera and
office.
so on. And they can have you on camera. Privy Council do have that. So for somebody to try and tie it in and say, government ain't do this and government ain't do that, so let's stay out. It's not only selfish. It's just
hypocritical.
Dotish.
Doomish.
Yeah, it's no other way to describe it. It's just dotish. And it shows the level of hatred that someone is willing to burn down the country if they can get to be in charge of the ashes. You ever heard of a Pyrrhic victory? In that the cost of victory is so high that at the end of it, it's like you lose. In other words, you're going to war and you have 10 men in the battle that you're going into. And 9 of the 10 men die. But you win. So you alone survive. The cost was the cost of victory, not too high. And for some of these individuals, they would like to see the CCJ referendum fail. They don't care about you, you know. This is not about you for them. They want to sit down on referendum night when the results come out. They want to be able to sit down and sip champagne and say, yes, we hold Keith Mitchell and them. Because to them, it's not a national issue. It's not an issue of conscience. It's not an issue of patriotism. It's not an issue of let's help those who need to be helped. It's an issue of we don't like Keith Mitchell.
Let's get Keith.
That's what's going on with them.
Let's get Keith.
They don't like Dr. Mitchell. But we're going to talk more on that tomorrow.
Oh, lots more on that.
We're going to talk more on that tomorrow.
You know, the hatred and so that they display and so forth for the process and all because of politics and talking about, we support it in principle. Garbage.
They may even support it in teacher, much less in principle.
You understand?
Not even in student, much less in principle.
I don't understand
If you support it, you support it. It's either you do or you don't. Yeah. If you don't support it, if you do not believe it's something that's good for the Caribbean region, say so. If you believe it's something good, you cannot believe that this is something good, but you refuse to take it.
Yeah.
So, okay, you have a viral infection. There is medication that you can take to clear up that viral infection. But you just find you want to spite the person that make the medication. So you ain't taking the medication. It's yourself you're spiting.
It's like you're feeling hungry today. Yesterday you eat oil long, you know. But today they cook oil long again. But you're hungry. And I can't eat that oil long again today,
so
no, man.
Suffering?
You understand? You prefer to stay hungry than to satisfy yourself with good food. Right? Food that will be nutritious for you. Oh, I don't want to eat oil long. I ate it yesterday. Garbage.
Yeah, they are seeking a Pyrrhic victory. They're seeking a victory at all costs. They don't care if they destroy the country.
Exactly.
They know, because they say it. They say they know the Caribbean Court of Justice is the right thing to do.
It's good for us.
They know it's the right thing. They know it's the patriotic, conscious thing to do. They know it's the right thing. But because they hate one man and they hate a party, this has nothing to do with Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell and the New National Party. This has to do with me and your access to justice. This is what this has to deal with. So you can't say you're going to try and hold the government to ransom like some sort of political bandit. You want to hold the government to ransom unless you do we ain't voting. So it's only yourself you're suffering?
But you see, a lot of them know that it will not affect them too, eh?
It will affect them, you know. It will affect them. They don't know that because it will affect them.
To them,
because
it's
here's
not,
what.
you know?
If they have an issue in relation to the Constitution of Grenada and the electoral process, where they going with it? When they finish in the appeals court, the regional appeals court, where they going with it? Not the Privy Council? You think they have $300,000 to pay? They couldn't even fund the election campaign, some of them. You feel they have $300,000 to go to the Privy Council to argue a constitutional motion or to argue a constitutional issue in relation to elections? But they could get it done for less than a tenth of that, a 1% of that, through the Caribbean Court of Justice. In other words, you making access easier for even them that have the issues. So it is nonsense. Nobody can tell me that they have a working brain and tell me that you believe the Caribbean Court of Justice is the right thing, but don't vote for it. If you believe it's the right thing, you will tell people, vote yes. I believe it's the right thing, and I'm telling people, vote yes. I'm asking people, you have to make the decision. I can't force you. But I am saying it's the right thing to do. And now is the time to do it, according to Prime Minister Mia Mottley, through Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller. Time come?
Yep, time come.
The time has come. Right? Watch, that's all the time we have had to. Let me play some steel pan and go?
Yeah, and it is some steel pan.
I'll go some churros today, boy. We will leave with some churros.
Yeah, we will leave some churros today.
We will leave some churros.
That one is for you.
Yeah, we start with some angel hearts, we go leave with some churros. Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. It's been wonderful being here. And all you say, all you do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
I'll see you tomorrow morning, once again, God's willing, on Hard Talk.
Grenada hosts high-level China-Caribbean Conference on Anti-Corruption Law Enforcement Cooperation. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the National Report for Monday, September 10, 2018, I am Sherry Noel. Grenada's Prime Minister, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, says the first China-Caribbean Conference on Anti-Corruption Law Enforcement Cooperation in Grenada signals a combined resolve to fight corruption and to jointly tackle the issue of cross-border corruption that could undermine good governance, good business practices, and general financial services in our country. The two-day conference, which opened on Monday, is being held at the Grenada Radisson Beach Resort. It brings together high-level representatives from China and CARICOM member states to share experiences, best practices, and explore cooperation in law enforcement and security.
We can all agree that corruption impairs social fairness and justice. It undermines the image and credibility of countries and their governments, and it hinders economic development and realization of sustainable development. In fact, it is well known when our own citizens feel that we are not dealing with these issues aggressively, the governments come in for the perception that we are also involved. So the more aggressive we deal with this thing has done multiple of positives. At its core, corruption undermines the rule of law, and it marginalizes our people. It impinges on the very purpose of government, which is to uphold the rule of law and to empower people, clearly. Therefore, my friends, my sisters and brothers all cooperation in these matters is therefore crucial to all of us, individually, as I said before, and collectively.
The Grenadian leader also noted that cooperation in anti-corruption presents yet another opportunity for Grenada and China to deepen relations. He made reference to the recent introduction of the bill in the House of Representatives that addresses the Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters Treaty signed between the Grenada and Chinese governments. His Excellency Xu Lingxi, Vice Chairman of the National Commission of Supervision, spoke of several key elements needed to ensure that this cooperation works effectively. He was assisted by an interpreter.
I'd like to take this opportunity to announce that next year, China is glad to provide training in China for 2 persons from each of the Caribbean states present at this conference in order to enhance relevant cooperation among our anti-corruption agencies and personnel. Ladies and gentlemen, in recent years, China has carried out an extensive and thorough anti-corruption campaign, all of which is based on strong political determination.
The conference continues on Tuesday, 11 September at the Radisson Hotel. Grenada is well placed to be the first Caribbean country to host such a high-level conference, as it was the first Caribbean country to conclude an extradition treaty and a mutual legal assistance treaty with the People's Republic of China. Arrangements are now being made to have these 2 treaties incorporated into Grenada's domestic law, and in this regard, they were debated in the House of Representatives on Friday, September 7, 2018, and will shortly be debated in the Senate. Reciprocal arrangements are also being made in China for incorporation of the treaties into China's domestic legal system. Cervical cancer, a preventable disease, has been identified as the 2nd leading cause of death in women in Grenada. To combat the problem, the Ministry of Health will in a matter of months launch the human papillomavirus vaccine program. The disturbing revelation was made during a workshop organized by the Ministry of Health on Monday, targeting media practitioners to get them in the know with an upcoming strengthening cervical cancer prevention program. The objective was to give a breakdown on the prevalence of cervical cancer in Grenada and the introduction of the human papillomavirus vaccine to girls aged 9 to 10 throughout the state. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Pauline Peters, says her ministry places a lot of focus and priority on preventative care.
Knowing the importance of the media and the influential role that you play in the dissemination of information, we consider it fitting that a special workshop is designed to ensure that you have a full understanding of this initiative, the pros and the cons, and all other relevant information as it relates to HPV vaccine.
Health Minister Nicholas Steele also addressed media workers during the workshop, saying he is very passionate about the HPV vaccination program, as too many young Grenadian women are dying of cervical cancer, a type of cancer that can be prevented.
The majority, if not all of those cases, we are aware of here, and then we are told, again, it's reinforced by the Cubans or wherever these individuals go to get assistance, that this is preventable. That we can, if not completely reduce the numbers, we can significantly reduce the numbers. And for the cost that's involved, it's most definitely worthwhile embarking on. By having a national program of HPV vaccination in conjunction with an accessible and effective program of regular checkups for women.
Community health nurse Katian Swan says the objective of the workshop is to equip media practitioners with the correct information about the HPV vaccination program soon to come on stream.
In Grenada, cervical cancer is the second leading cause of death among women in Grenada. Cervical cancer strikes women in the prime of their life. These women are raising children, caring for their families, and contributing to the social and economic fabric of their communities. Cervical cancer is one of the most preventable and treatable forms of cancer, as long as it is detected early and managed effectively.
PAHO's Family and Community Health Advisor, Dr. Darlene Omari-Taylor, under whose portfolio HPV falls, says the workshop is timely and important, as the media needs to be equipped with the right information to disseminate.
Most of the cervical cancers are related to the human papilloma virus. So, and there's enough evidence to prove the effectiveness of this vaccine. One of the main questions that come up is, why do we vaccine girls at such an early age? And I just wanted to remind you that the main reason is because of the immune response we get at that age. It has nothing else to do with it. The earlier you provide it, if you provide it too soon, you would not get the same immune response. And if you provide it too late, you would not get the same immune response. So WHO PAHO has agreed that the ideal age is between 9, 13, 14.
Facilitators for the workshop included Dr. Sean Charles and Dr. Sonia Nixon. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
This is the soca singer in your neighborhood. She prepares all week for the show. This is the pastor in your neighborhood. He works all week to preach in church. This is the farmer in your neighborhood. He works on his farm to come to market once a week. This is the teller at your local bank. She is efficient and pleasant. This is the politician in parliament. He makes policy decisions that affect the nation. Today, their schedules changed. Today, they are not on stage, in church, on the farm, at the bank, in parliament. Today, they are at the hospital, waiting for the results of their HIV/STI test. Can you tell who will test positive? No, we couldn't tell either. It's never written on our face. Who knows? Maybe it's none of them. Maybe it's one of us. The time has come to end the stigma and discrimination aimed at our sick family, friends, and colleagues.
Welcome back. You are viewing the National Report for Monday, September 10th, 2018. Official statistics for Carnival 2018 shows that Grenada recorded significant growth in the visitor arrivals. These figures, which entail arrivals 20 days prior to Carnival Monday and Tuesday, shows increased arrivals from major source markets like Canada, the Caribbean and CARICOM. These statistics were shared by Tourism Minister Honorable Clarice Moodess-Kerwin during Friday's meeting of the House of Representatives.
To give a few stats, Mr. Speaker, Canada, the numbers in 2017 were 831. In 2018 was 1,379, an increase of 65%. The Caribbean, an increase of 25% from 2,144 to 2,681. CARICOM, the wider CARICOM, 25% increase. From Trinidad and Tobago, we had an increase of 38.5%, Mr. Speaker, and that is one of the areas where we marketed heavily between culture and the GTA. From Europe, we had an increase of 31%, from 1,845 persons to 2,417, and from UK, an increase of 35%.
The increase in visitor arrival to the island, she says, had to do in part with the improved collaboration between the Ministry of Culture and Tourism.
The projection for increase for our numbers was 5.3 prior to the carnival season, and we were rewarded by our efforts with an increase of 24.9% increase of visitors, Mr. Speaker. They came from all over. And the two areas that were of great interest and maybe gave us the edge over other islands were our Jab Jab and our Monday night mass.
Minister Modest Cowan says the UK increase is a welcoming one, especially in light of fluctuating numbers since Brexit. Now to recap the top story. Grenada hosts high-level China-Caribbean Conference on Anti-Corruption Law Enforcement Cooperation. And with this, we come to the end of the National Report for today, Monday, September 10th, 2018. On behalf of the entire news team, I am Sherry and Noel.
Who Leo Joseph is, and I'm just so sick of people who have no skin in the game, who have risked nothing. You don't own a boat, you don't really care about the regatta, you don't come to see the boats race, and you want to run your mouth. And I will correct you any day, anytime, as long as God give me energy. I don't care who you are. You could be the priest in the church or the minister, but I will correct you because you're so quick to bash people. And the people who get applauded on Carriacou are the people who are just empty vessels, no nonsense, just garbage people. And that's who get applauded. And I'm so sick of it. And the nonsense is going to stop now. I'm telling you, it's going to stop now. We're going to fix this thing.